you all to the platform of IAS Origin. उम्मीद करता हूँ आप सब बहुत अच्छे होंगे. Would like to again analyze GS paper 1. But now today what is so much special is that we are going to be touching a very important aspect, that is social justice. हम लोग आज social justice की बात करेंगे. So पहले तो आप ये ध्यान में रखें कि जब मैं GS paper 2 की बात करता हूँ, so what all do we have? We have polity. We did that on Monday. Then we have governance. We did that yesterday, that was Tuesday. And today we are going to be focusing upon the part of social justice. And tomorrow we are going to be focusing on the part of IR, that is international relations. तो ये एक बहुत important aspect है which we are supposed to be understanding very much specifically, very much precisely. Now, having said that, what is more important is that we have to have a proper clarity, we have to have a decent level of understanding. Only then we can master this particular aspect. That's very much clear. So again I would reiterate, why in the first place did we start this series? हमने ये शुरू किया क्यों है, आप उसको समझें, वो बहुत ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है कि why exactly are we even doing this, why exactly are we even doing this particular exercise every day. Day in, day out, we are repeating the same thing, and there has to be a reason why we are doing that. So the main reason, bete, is very much clear, and that is in order to excel in any examination, you need to know what exactly is the trend which is going on. क्या trend है, क्या trend चल रहा है, ये बहुत ज़रूरी है. Only then you can do well. I'm sure you understand that. And this is the reason. And we are doing analysis also in a very organic manner. I am just making sure that what all are the themes which are being repeated, what are the kind of the questions you are getting from those themes, all these things we are doing. So in a very natural manner we are doing this particular exercise, which I feel has to be bringing a lot of value to your preparation. आपकी preparation में value addition अपने आप हो जाता है when you know what all are the themes which are being asked and how do we approach those themes properly. Got it? Now today the theme which we are going to be doing, the theme of social justice, I'll talk about that, but before that make sure you join this Telegram channel. If you want to get the PDF of the session, जो कि मैं आज अगर मैं upload कर ही दूंगा, you can join this Telegram channel, that is IAS Origin. And there's a small announcement for you. So in the description you can find the link to the free mains test series for all the students who have cleared the prelims this time and they are appearing for the mains. वो इस टेस्ट सीरीज को ज्वाइन कर सकते हैं. इट इज टोटली फ्री फॉर द फर्स्ट 50 पीपल. सेकेंडली, every Sunday we have a proper workshop from 12 to 3. Every Sunday we have a workshop, so make sure you attend that workshop always. Sunday को from 12 to 3 p.m. we have a free workshop for every aspirant who is serious about their preparation. They surely can join this workshop as well. ठीक है. So on this very note, let's start this session. Now, when I pick the syllabus of GS paper 2, as you all know, we have the polity part, we have the governance part, we have social justice, we have IR. So as I have already told you, today we are going to focus upon this part of social justice. And if you have seen previous sessions, we have properly, holistically analyzed this part of polity and governance. Polity and governance बहुत बढ़िया तरीके से we already have done. And IR will be doing tomorrow. So today we have social justice. If we see this year's paper, the latest paper, that is 2024 GS paper 1 of civil service examination mains, we saw 125 marks ka jo this portion, it came from the part of polity. So we saw there was a polity of around 125 marks, and the part which we are going to analyze today, that is social justice, it was just of 25 marks. So usually you get two questions, one 15 marker, one 10 marker. Now does that mean that we don't pay importance to this part? No, certainly not. I'll tell you the reason. Studying this part is not just about these 25 marks. Studying this part is also going to help you a lot in the ethics and essay. So remember this thing, that if you study the social justice wala part, you are going to make a lot of difference in your overall scoring scheme of different papers. So ये ध्यान में रखना है आपने, that is very much important. So talking of the syllabi of social justice, we got to understand that we have to focus on what? Welfare schemes for vulnerable sections. Now, when we talk about the vulnerable sections, we have various vulnerable sections: STs, OBCs, women, even, when we talk about the children, we talk about elderly. So all the vulnerable sections, they are very much important. And what has been done by the center, what hasn't been done by the states, that is important. Ultimately, what are the mechanisms, what are the laws, what are the institutions, all these are going to be important. On top of that, we have various issues relating to the development and management of social sector services. जैसे health है, education, HR, human resource. So that is very much important theme. So health के बारे में you have to study, education you have to study, and human resource you have to study, that how exactly do we focus. Then we have issue of poverty, hunger, very much important issue. So remember this thing, the key areas of this very portion of the GS paper 2 is that we have to be very much well versed with this aspect of vulnerable sections. What are the things, what are the good things done for the vulnerable sections? And you talk about health, education, human resource, poverty issues, all these aspects are certainly going to be super important for you. So we have to understand that. Clear? So I'm hopeful that now you are making a lot of, this particular thing is making a lot of sense for you, because it is absolutely clear now. So make sure you share the session as well with your friends, so that you can, they also can have a proper clarity on this particular aspect. That is very much important. All right. Okay. So having said that, I would like to first of all show you that from 2020 paper, from 2024 mains of GS paper 2, what exactly do we see? So we have seen question directly coming from poverty and malnutrition, that it creates a vicious cycle which impact badly human capital formation. What steps can be taken to break the cycle? That's one. Then in a crucial domain like public health care, the Indian state should play a proper role, vital role to contain the adverse impact of marketization of the system. ये भी बहुत important है. So suggest the measure through which state can enhance the reach of public health care at the grassroots level. So basically, it was reaching of the public health care to the grassroots level. So everybody should be getting the benefits. So you can see we have a question on healthcare, we have a question on poverty. As I already told you, that usually they'll be focusing on these themes. So they are focused on poverty and healthcare. So there may be a question on education, on human resource. So this is a very important aspect we are supposed to be understanding. So remember one thing for sure, whenever we are talking of the key trends of this very paper, we have to know that healthcare and this poverty, they always are going to be the key trends, and we have to be having a decent level of understanding on these portions. एक basic idea होना बहुत ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है. Got it? So I am hopeful that now you are getting a lot of clarity on all these points. Having said that, now if I talk about this very paper, if we analyze it properly, key trends, especially when we talk about 2024, what we have seen, poverty and malnutrition question is there. So there is actually a link. There's a link between poverty, malnutrition, human capital formation. This theme is there. And this very question focus on breaking this cycle with all the concrete steps which we can take. So see, previous questions explored poverty alleviation schemes of the government. Okay, they also focus on multidimensional poverty, but this 2024 ka question is more solution oriented. Remember this thing. This question is more on the solution side of it. So that is the most important thing, that what steps can be taken to break the cycle. So that's why this is a very solution oriented question. है ना? This is a very solution oriented kind of a question which we have over here. This is the point we have to understand. Got it? Moving ahead, when we talk about the public health care, so 2024 ka question on the marketization's adverse impact on the healthcare. So it is adding a new dimension to the theme of health reform. Now again, if we pick the previous questions on, universal healthcare, we had a question, Ayushman Bharat, we had a question. They were focusing on the policy evaluation, that how it's functioning. But 2024 ka question is focusing deeper into the privatization and grassroots healthcare. So this is actually a very important thing. What is more important is that you have to stay connected to the theme of the question, and then accordingly you have to answer. Now, having said that, what is even more important, I would like to talk about that also. जैसे social justice की theme है. Uh, you know, when we talk about this public health, we talk about the education, they are also areas of the development of human capital. So always remember this thing also, that human resource development का भी जो theme है, they are touching down upon that also. So we can't say they are not doing that. So the question was on health, but in a way, this human resources, development of the human resources of the country, that how do we give a better life, a better standard to the people, that is also connected. So ये बहुत ज़्यादा important है, the point which we have to be understanding. Is that clear? So even in the poverty malnutrition question also, we are seeing this, how it is affecting the human capital formation. अब ये देखो. So both are absolutely connected to each other. Both themes are totally aligned to each other. That is the point we have to look upon. Clear, Ajay? So I'm hopeful that now everything is making a lot of sense to you. Moving ahead, now what we will be doing is, like this was the 2024 ka paper, I'll be identifying even more themes related to the previous year papers from this portion only. Mainly, you can pick this issue of health, education, human resource. This very theme we are going to be focusing upon precisely. So I am sure that this is also going to be of much importance for all of you. So I hope it helps. Let me just load this. Okay. Have a look at this question. Clear? So when we, look at such questions, what is the first thought which should come to your mind is that how do we approach them? So that's the question one. Like in 2013 itself, we had a question. Like today we have sustainable development goals. Till 2015 we had MDGs, that is Millennium Development Goals. So I always suggest people, for social justice, even if there is not a direct question on social justice paper, you should be having a proper idea about SDGs, that is Sustainable Development Goals. ये बहुत important topic है. So SDGs, that is Sustainable Development Goals का तो आपको idea होना ही चाहिए, because ultimately there may or may not be a direct question on that, but surely you should be having a proper idea about them, because they can ask you direct question either, or you can code that in your answer in order to get way better marks than other people. So ये याद रखिए, in order to add value to your preparation, to your answer, you need to know that. Anyways, अब देखिए, identify MDGs that are related to health, that is one. So पहले तो आपको ये identify करना था यहाँ पे. So there can be a question, identify SDGs related to health. Then discuss the success of the actions taken by the government for achieving the same. अब ये देखो, actions of the government पे भी question है, that what are the actions taken by the government. So that ways you are basically relating both of them together. आप क्या कर रहे हैं, दोनों को एक साथ relate करके चल रहे हैं, government actions and identifying. So I always say that there can be, or most of the time there are multiple parts which are supposed to be addressed properly. आपको यहाँ पर वो सभी parts को क्या करना है, properly address करना है, and trust me, that is of immense importance. तो ये आप हमेशा mind में रख के चलें कि किस प्रकार से आप ये कर रहे हैं, that is going to decide your overall performance in this paper. Clear है? So I am really very much hopeful that this session is going to help you a lot, because we are not just identifying the themes, we are also trying to decode that, so that you know what exactly to study in the social justice. Because a lot of time what happens is you don't know what exactly you're supposed to read. So these sessions can surely be helpful in that regards, that now you know that what exactly are you supposed to be reading in this context. Okay. Then in 2014 again we had a question, that should premier institutes like IIT, IIMs be allowed to retain premier status, allowed more academic independence in designing the courses, and decide mode या criteria of selection student discuss in the light of growing challenges. तो उस साल का कोई issue होगा, उसके basis पे they have made this very question. So now again, this is, I would say, very much current based question, that in that preceding year, if something is happening in this regard, they are making a question out of it. They are also asking that very question. So for such questions, you have to have a good grip over the current affairs, and you should also know how in the first place do you frame that answer. How exactly are you going to be framing the answer? That is also going to be very much important. So remember this thing, that from 2014 we have this very important question, which we have to understand precisely. Clear? So every year, you will see there's this trend of questions being asked from the portion. You pick any year for that matter. So, you are supposed to have a decent level of clarity that how exactly are we going to be framing the answer. वो बहुत important है. If, you are not understanding that, then actually it is going to be of much problem. So, ये थोड़ा सा ध्यान रखना है आपने. चलो. Any specific doubts in case you guys have, you surely can let me know. Clear है? चलिए. Moving ahead. Now, if I come to 2015 bit, again, issues relating to the health, education and human resource, this very theme we are talking about. So, we have to be, very clear about what exactly are the kind of the questions which are being asked. So, remember this thing, the kind of the question we already have analyzed. If you look at that again, क्या है यहाँ पे quality of higher education in India requires major improvement. So, this very question is directly relating to the quality of higher education in India. That what improvement we need, how can we bring that particular improvement. All these kind of thoughts we have to be discussing over here in this question. So again, I would say that in this question you also have to focus on something which is happening in the current domain. Whatever is happening, you have to be focusing on that as well. So that's certainly very much important. So okay, now what is more important is we have to make it internationally competitive. That's one thing. Do you think that entry of the foreign institutions in India, education institution in India, would improve the quality of technical and higher education in the country? Discuss. Now again, we have two parts. This is the one part that the quality of education, higher education in India needs improvement. Then the second part is, do you think entry of the foreign education institution is going to be improving the quality? Two parts are there. You got to address both the parts, and only then we will say that answer has been done properly. So ये बहुत important है. We have to be focusing upon that. On top of that, if I pick on 2015 question again, one more question. This was about the public health system. है ये health का question. I say this is a question on education. And then we have a question on health. So this is what defines social justice. That whenever you are going for the paper, you will realize that you have multiple questions being asked, but the questions which are there, they are going to be touching upon different domains. Again, if I pick on 2016 ka paper, 2016 maybe what exactly do we have? So in 2016, 2017, 2020, if you see the theme, so what we have seen, like demographic dividend, it was a lot of it was in a lot of news, demographic dividend in India, that India is a young country. The overall, when we look at the people, we have a lot of people in the working age group. So when we talk about the demographic dividend in India, it will remain only theoretical unless our manpower become more educated, aware, skilled and creative. ये बहुत interesting है. So what measures have been taken by the government to enhance the capacity of our population to be more productive and employable? So this is the question. Now that's a very interesting question. They are literally asking you that what all are the measures which have been taken by the government to enhance the capacity of the population. So we have to make them more employable, we have to make them efficient, we have to make sure that they are able to work properly, they are able to deliver, they are able to contribute. So again, this is a question on government initiatives. On the government's initiatives, that is the kind of the question which is being asked. So that's again a very important question. So for social justice, you have to make sure that you prepare diligently the government's measures in various domains. It can be in terms of healthcare, in terms of education, in terms of skill enhancement, everything. You have to make sure that you are doing that properly. So this is a very simple aspect which we have to be keeping in our minds precisely. Clear? On top of that, अगर मैं बात करूँ, for example in 2017 we had a question that local community level healthcare, ठीक है, it's a prerequisite to achieve health for all in India. अब ये देखो कितना interesting है. So they are talking of the healthcare only, and they're talking of the local community level healthcare. So it was a lot of news in Delhi as well, and government of India also did take some steps in this regards. So ये उसके basis पे है. But this question has been asked on that very basis. So again, that is of course important. Clear? So abhi, that's why I'm talking of these questions. We'll be talking of the poverty and hunger later on, but initially I'm talking of these questions so that I'm able to make sure that we are all on the same page. वो बहुत ज़रूरी है. So we are supposed to be having a proper level of clarity that how questions are being asked and what in the first place are you supposed to be writing in these questions. So ये बहुत ज़्यादा important है. Mind you, just talking of any aspect, if it has been asked in the paper, you always need to at least understand about one thing, bete, that this paper is very much doable. Almost everyone can write an answer on any theme for that matter, but what matters is the quality of your answer. Trust me on that. If the quality is there only, then you get decent marks. यहाँ पे ऐसा नहीं कि randomly anything you will be writing under the sun you will be getting the marks. It's not going to happen. So you have to put in the quality, and quality तभी आएगी when you know how to prepare. So I don't say that you prepare very hard. You have to prepare smart for the social justice portion. Like in 2020 we had a question, in order to enhance the prospects of social development, sound and adequate healthcare policies are needed in the field of geriatric and maternal health. अब देखो यहाँ पे दो domains को focus करना है in the healthcare, that is elderly health, that is geriatric and maternal health. So health for the elderlies, how do we do health for mothers, even when they are pregnant and after delivering, that particular stage is very much crucial for a mother. So we have to focus upon that. So that is quite important. So I hope now you know that how in the first place are you supposed to be understanding the demand of the paper and then accordingly answering that. As simple as that. Clear? So I am hopeful that now you are in a position to understand the ideas very much specifically. Clear? Moving ahead. Now, when we again talk about the issues relating to the health, education, human resource, we have to focus upon very important themes. In 2021, we had two questions. Earn while you learn scheme. It needs to be strengthened to make vocational education and skill training meaningful. अब ये इसमें you had to give your points precisely that when you're learning side by side, if you're working based on that. So basically, again, if there's a government initiative, you have to focus on that, and that is certainly very much important. Getting it? Everyone has to have a basic idea about this. 2021 mein again we had a question about digital literacy, especially in the rural areas, So coupled with the lack of information and communication technology, ICT. अब आप एक चीज notice करो कि digital literacy, when we talk about illiteracy, we are having a question that people are not digitally literate. So they are not knowing much about how to operate certain devices. And remember this thing, that when we talk about lack of information communication technology accessibility, it is hindering what? Socio-economic development. Now that is a link which we have with the socio-economic development. So you have to examine with justification. This was the question. This was much more analytical question. But again, if you have certain data, that surely will be of immense importance. So thoda data chahiye yahan pe. Then skill development program have succeeded in increasing the human resources supply to various sectors. Ye bahut important hai. So when we talk about various skill development programs, certainly we are seeing this particular thing happening. So you have to analyze the linkage between education, skill and employment. So again, I would say that if you have done previous papers seriously, so you will be having a proper theme in order to know that in what way you're supposed to be answering them precisely. That is what is required. Okay, so now moving ahead, we'll be talking about the issues of poverty and hunger. What are the kind of the questions we are seeing from poverty and hunger? So let's talk about the theme of poverty and hunger now. Got it? So when we talk about these issues relating to the poverty and hunger, the most important thing is that you have to be focusing on some very important aspects. For example, in 2015, we had a question that though there have been several different estimates of poverty in India, okay, Tendulkar committee, Lakkadwala, Alag committee, so many committees are there, all indicate reduction in the poverty over time. Do you agree? So you have to examine with reference to urban and rural poverty indicators. Now that's a very deep question. In order to answer this question, you have to know about the poverty estimation in India, that which committee said what about the poverty reduction. So that is the scheme which you have to be focusing upon. And this, I won't say it's a very difficult question, but I'll certainly say that this is the kind of the question which requires some sort of brainstorming. So that is why that's important. Having said that, like we talk about the hunger and poverty. So hunger and poverty are biggest challenges for good governance in India still today. We all know that. So because if we don't have good governance, we can't have an inclusive growth. So you have to evaluate that how far successive governments have progressed in dealing with these humongous problems. That's one thing. You have to also suggest measures for improvement. So how do we improve? These are the kind of the measures you have to be focusing upon. That is very much important. So remember this thing. So we are doing what? We are focusing on again hunger and poverty, and we are focusing on measures for improvement. So in a way, if you ask me, so we are linking both together. Even in the first question also, what we saw that reduction in the poverty over time has been told by various estimates. How far do you agree? And you have to examine with reference to urban and rural poverty indicators. So, in terms of how many calories people are consuming in terms of the expenditure, you had to, draw a proper, clarity over that. So this is what was required in this very question. So again, these are the kind of the questions you can master if you have prepared well for this particular portion. So ये आपको उस तरह से करना था. In 2017 again we have that poverty elevation programs in India remains showpiece until unless they are backed by political will. So political will and poverty elevation program का link है यहाँ पे. So you have to discuss with reference to performance of major poverty elevation program in India. So how are they performing in India? For that, you need to know what all are the poverty elevation programs in India, and accordingly your answer will be framed. So mind you, you are supposed to have a decent level of first of all understanding. Only then you are in a position to answer these kind of questions. Now, poverty and hunger, we all know it is very much connected with each other, and only then we are in a position to answer these questions precisely if we understand that linkage. Again, in 2018, we had this question that how far do you agree with the fact that the focus on lack of availability of food as the main cause of hunger takes the attention away from effective human development policy in India. So ये बहुत interesting है that just lack of availability पे focus नहीं करना है हमने. We have to focus on human development as well. That is more important than anything else. So in a way, you have to tell that if there is hunger, it is not just because food is not there. It may be because of lack of purchasing power of that particular individual. So we have to focus on that also, give them required skills and education in order to enable them to improve the quality of life. So ये इस तरह से बहुत important question बनता है. 2020 में again we had this question that the incidence and intensity of the poverty are more important in determining poverty based on income alone. So ये बहुत interesting था. This statement is very much interesting that incidence and intensity of the poverty, they are very much important when we talk about the poverty. So these are the technical terms which you need to know, that how precisely are you going to be answering them. And you have to analyze latest UN multi-dimensional poverty index report. So in context of that report, which was there in that particular year, you had to analyze this particular statement and you had to in a way answer that effectively. Now we have analyzed so many questions, like if we talk about previous year papers, we have analyzed like approximately 15 questions. What I would suggest is that 15 questions give you a lot of idea into this aspect of how in the first place are you supposed to prepare. First of all, that thing is important, and I always suggest you guys to be clear about the syllabus and previous year questions, especially in the social justice part, because whenever we are talking of the social justice part, what exactly are we supposed to do? First of all, we have to be very much clear about the syllabus, and then we are supposed to understand that how we are supposed to prepare for that particular thing, because a lot of time this is a issue with the students that either they miss out on this entire portion or they don't know how well they are supposed to be preparing. So वो थोड़ा सा issue आ जाता है. So make sure you are focusing on this particular aspect very much clearly, and you are also making sure that you have proper notes which you can revise just before the examination. Exam से पहले आपके पास revise करने के लिए कुछ तो चाहिए. So that is very much important that you should be having that quality notes with you handy so that you are in a position to revise them accordingly. So anyways, having said that, एक चीज आप notice करना which I would like to show you, that again social justice में we have three portions. One is what? Welfare schemes for the vulnerable section. So as I've shown you the syllabus itself right in the beginning of the class, the first thing was that we saw the syllabus. Now since we have seen the syllabus of this particular portion, so have a look at this. For example, this is welfare scheme and betterment of the vulnerable section. ये बहुत important part है. So here we have to focus on the legislation, that is various laws. We have to focus on various schemes, various policies, and what all are the bodies for the welfare of SCs, STs, women, children, and elderly, because they are all vulnerables. OBCs, ठीक है, particularly vulnerable tribal group, PVTGs, ये सारे vulnerable groups में आते हैं. There are so many others as well, of course. Divyangs, disables, Divyang भी इसमें आएंगे. So we have to know that what all are the legislations, what all are the policies by the government, so that you are in a position to at least understand this idea very much specifically. So we have to at least have this clarity that if we have read it all, so it's not going to be very much difficult for you to be answering these questions. When we talk about the social justice, we talk about health, education, human resource. So this is a very broad topic. First of all, it covers all the aspects related to development and management of various provisions, facilities, people, personnel, and initiative related to the health, education, and HR. So again, as I've already shown you the kind of the question which have been asked, so now poverty may again, what are the poverty estimates done from time to time, how adequate they are, what are the challenges posed by the hunger and the poverty, policy related to the hunger and poverty, how efficient they are, how effective they are, all these kind of things you have to focus on. So you should also have a critical view on them. It is not just that you are supposed to read it and that's it, nothing like that. You have to have a proper idea backed by proper facts, and what all are the dimensions which are going on, current affairs related to these. It is certainly going to be very much important. So remember this thing, that whenever I am talking about the social justice wala portion, it is very much manageable, but given you should have a knack of understanding that what exactly is the view, what all other trends as you have seen. You should know that poverty, malnutrition se these questions are coming, healthcare se these questions are coming, human resource development or capacity development se these questions are coming, so that whenever you write an answer, it should not look like कि हवा में ऐसे कुछ भी लिख दिया. You should have a proper understanding on that. So this class is basically about what? That we are having a good level of analysis on the aspect of this particular GS paper 2, especially social justice ka portion. And what we have done is, like social justice 2013 till 2024, this very analysis we have done. So that is the idea we have to be focusing upon. So this entire analysis we have done in this very class, and I am hopeful that this has added a lot of value to your overall preparation, and that is what is required. यही चीज है जो required है, and we are supposed to be paying proper focus on these things. Clear है जी? So I am very much hopeful that now we have got a decent level of clarity, decent level of understanding on all these perspectives, and that is what is required. Very good. So any specific doubts you have, you surely can let me know. Clear hai ji? Chalo, that's great. Now tomorrow At same time, that is 12 p.m. you are going to be having an answer of the IR. Again, 2013 onwards, what are the questions being asked from the IR in the GS paper 2? That is what the idea is. So I'm sure it's going to be very much helpful for you in your overall preparation as well. Okay, ji? So thank you so very much. It was great having this session like always. I hope you have a great day, everyone.